And it's 5 o'clock. Beatrice here with the letter G in Parole Amate. I thought I would speak about gelato most of the time because we had our workshop, and I will briefly, but then, you're following my meandering. So yes, gelato, it's Paola Richard of Gelato Love in Carlsbad who guided the workshop, who retraced the origin of gelato for us. And Europeans are very good at claiming origin stories, but it was actually from the Middle East, and it seems particularly from Iran, that the idea of sort of snow and fruit together, or that combination, cold fruit and then cold other things, came into Sicily at first. And then, with privilege and position, it was actually Caterina dei Medici in the Renaissance, that when she got married, or had to get married to the French king, she decided that her present would be a chef who could make gelato as dessert. But then that same day of the workshop, another friend called or wrote a text, and she said something, this Italian expression. She's a Neapolitan friend, and she wrote, abbiamo una brutta gatta da pelare. Abbiamo una brutta, or it could be abbiamo una bella gatta da pelare, either one. So we have an ugly or a beautiful cat to skin is the literal translation. It's sort of like we have a big fish to fry or a hard nut to crack in English. The origin of that expression is ambiguous, and it's not quite clear exactly what is meant by skinning a cat. But what I resonate with, it seems pretty logical, is it started in England, the idea of skinning, of taking the fur of the cat to use, and the cat being impossible to rein in almost. So horrible. But yeah, so in England, the expression is, and here, there are many ways to skin a cat, which seems so, the assumption is the cat can be skinned, whereas, so there is more doing in that version, whereas the Italian version, it's really to have to go through a hard enterprise that's maybe not worth it. It sort of implies that skinning a cat already at all is so hard. Notice that, gatto, gatta comes from gattum, gatta, Latin, which it's a later way that substituted the earlier felem in Latin, from which all the feline, felino words come from. But notice that abbiamo una brutta gatta da pelare is feminine, and in many other expressions dealing with cats, the cat, not always in a beautiful light, is feminine. So gatta cicova, there is an imbroglio, there's something kept secret. Tanto va la gatta al lardo che ci lascia lo zampino, this equivalent of curiosity killed the cats, but in relation to this female cat going to get the fat of the prosciutto and then losing her little paw because of it. Or even worse, which I've always hated, gatta morta, which is this idea of someone, usually woman, manipulative but with a meek appearance, gatta morta, and so on. But then in the expression the gatti hanno sette vite, cats have 7 lives, multiple lives, right? It is suddenly gatti, plural masculine. So it's just always, it seems important to notice how habit and who maybe has, developed these things, where does it lean towards? And it's pretty obvious. But the funny thing about gatti hanno sette vite is that in Anglo-Saxon countries is, of course, cats have 9 lives. And I discovered this in a translation process where, we were like, what do you mean 7, 9, 7? Anyway, and it seems like in Anglo-Saxon country, it comes from Shakespeare having used that number. In Catholic, but it seems also Muslim countries, the 7 becomes this big, it's sort of a more sacred number, you know, the seven capital sins, the seven sacraments, the seven plagues of Egypt, seven virtues. And so I'm mentioning sort of biblical setup, etymology, but I believe from my friend who is Persian, Iranian, also in Iran, the cats have seven lives. So there's something to that. Okay, we will next week go to the H and anyway, there are some ideas you'll see. I want to make sure that if you are interested in learning Italian, just know that the Italian Cultural Center is starting the fall term virtually on October 1st. And if you sign up between September 1st and 7th, there is a discount. Check out our website. That's it. See you next week. Ciao.